this is Christine Barton. You're watching Black Tea News. Hello. Welcome to Black News. I'm your host, Christina Barton. Today we're going to be talking about Maxim Australia put out a list of their top 100, I guess, hot women. And there's a very curious person on the list who is indeed not a woman and not not even close. not even close. One of the manliest looking trannies I've seen. Not for lack of trying, I guess, but looks like someone who's gonna, I don't know. They're a former football coach, but I before I found out they're a coach, I'm like, is this like a UFC fighter that just grew their hair out and got some tits? But anyway, we'll be talking about that. Also, Joe Biden, there's this clip going around. If you follow me on Twitter, then you probably see me retweet it. But he was talking about the hospital bombing in Gaza, and the comment that he made was a gaffe for life, I guess. And also, Republicans are really still struggling between getting a speaker. Jim Jordan is the one who's trying to get it right now, and grassroots are very excited about it, but he has a lot of colleagues that aren't into that idea. There were 20 who voted against him, so he was thinking about not doing a third ballot, but they scrapped that because they were going to give power to the temporary person in the wings who's been acting as speaker. And I guess he talked to other Republicans about that, and they were not having it. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if he can get those numbers, to be frank, but I do think that ultimately it makes Republicans look pretty bad. It makes them look like they can't govern and they can't lead. And I've been talking to people who aren't as into politics as I am, but they're still like, this really makes our side not look great. So and I agree. Well, hopefully there's a happy ending, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if they can get this together. I don't know if they can get all those votes to Jim Jordan, or if they're gonna have to move on with somebody else. But hopefully there's still a good speaker who will hold Democrats accountable and try to push good things through and stop bad things from getting through as much as they can. But yeah, before we jump at everything, let me encourage you guys to go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, different videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate. Costs are stream, costs are on my website, all that stuff. So you guys can support in that way. I very much do appreciate you. If you're watching on Facebook, you guys can send stars. If you're watching on YouTube, you guys can do super chats or super thanks for watching it back later. But there is a link in the description if you guys want to go to the website and leave a donation. Check out different merch that we have at the store. A lot of people were really into my shirt because I did TikTok with it the other day. So that's available on blacktnews.com. The Constitution is a Glorious Liberty document. And I got other stuff you guys can check out at blacktnews.com, other merch. I do also have a lot of books that I've written. So if you guys can, just search me on Amazon. Otherwise, you can go to blacktnews.com, hit the merchandise button, and there's a banner that'll take you over to my book site. And I saw that some of you have been signing up. And so you have been going to ninja-publishing.com is my book website. So thank you guys for going that extra step. I hope you guys check out some of my stuff and that you like it. So I do have something funny to show you guys. You guys know that I like to start with something funny. We have been talking about a lot of heavy stuff for the past couple days, and we'll get into it a little bit, but mostly because of the comment I have to show you guys that Biden did. But I came across this video today with someone that I've seen on the Whatever podcast. In the Whatever podcast, it's a very popular show on YouTube where this guy it's like a dating show, and he'll bring in all these girls, and they'll talk for like 2-3 hours about their dating life, what they do, but a lot of them are like OnlyFans and other stuff like that, and they might bring in like some people on the right, or some serious red pill guys or whatever, to say some things and to rebut the girls. And clips go pretty viral that usually make the girls look not too flattering, but they say some crazy stuff sometimes, man. I have I don't know, it's a weird kind of train wreck to watch. um I think the one that I've probably watched the most of is maybe the episode with Michael Knowles. So who's Michael Knowles has been on there, Lila Rose has been on there, Candace Owens has been on there, and other folks. But this individual I saw on that show before, so I recognize them from this clip I'm about to show you guys. And then I think I'm going to show you a little bit of their time on the Whatever podcast. But this clip that I found today was pretty funny, and it's the reality of it's delusion meets reality of men, and the realness of their reactions to this type of thing. So you just gotta watch it.
Like if it were a date.
Yeah.
Let me rewind that back a little bit.
Just based off of the conversation we're having now.
Like if it were a date.
Yeah. Because this is technically like a date, like a mini date.
Go back. You know I want to.
I'm not really sure. Kind of got a blindfold on, so I don't really know what to ask you.
You can
Okay,
take the
so
blindfold off.
I'm not your typical 10, so like what looks like everything to you? Like what is the vibe?
Not everything, but it plays a big part.
For sure. Well, with that being said, you can take your blindfold off.
Oh, fuck no. Jesus Christ. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so very real reaction there. I don't know what else people expect. So I remembered him on the Whatever podcast, and some of the girls are just like, no, she's wonderful and she's this, and don't, you wouldn't, how dare you not want to sleep with him, and say if you slept with him that would make you gay. So I just thought it was a funny juxtaposition between, like, some of the ways I remember the girls reacting with this individual versus a raw reaction from a man seeing this person in front of them, because this is obviously not the typical kind of person that you'd want to go out and date if you were a man who is not a gay man with some kind of fetish. But since we're here, I'm going to go ahead and share this snippet of a clip from the Whatever podcast with this person on it, so you guys can kind of see the bit of delusion that's exists and operates in this sort of realm and world.
Wait, question for you. So you previously described yourself as a certified bad bitch.
24/7.
Do you
days off?
Do you like slay? Like you got mad bitches because you're a certified bad bitch. Do you got mad bitches?
No, I feel like I'm somewhat retired. What do you? Okay, wait. Let me finish before I answer.
Of course.
Of
course.
I'm sorry.
Do you get mad bitches?
As in, like.
And by the way,
who do you go for? Guys or girls?
Guys, girls,
or both?
Both.
I like boys. I
You
like
like-
men.
Okay, you like men.
I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna be honest, because when I drink, like, I'm personally like, I don't like vagina, but like, I'm down to play with some ass and titties. Like, that's
Okay.
fun.
All right.
That's
Get
why
it.
I asked Kiko.
Get it.
That's
Okay.
why I asked Kiko
So,
about your sexuality.
so like, I don't know. I kind of get the impression. Like, I feel like you got game. So, like, do you get mad bitches?
Honestly, yes. However, let me clarify something. So I feel like the older that I'm getting, I'm washing them away. Why? Because I'm getting older. I want a man who loves me
23?
openly.
You're 23.
Yeah, I'm
You got-
23. But
you got
like,
plenty
honestly,
of time to sow the wild oats. Is that how that goes?
Let's spill the tea real quick, okay? Like, let's spill the tea. My experiences from dating are way more different than theirs. I'm a trans girl. Like, men, honestly, like, it's so fucking rare that you ever even find a guy that's being like, let me take you out. Let's go see a movie. Let's go have dinner. No, they're just trying to fuck. I'm a fetish to like 98% of those guys, you know? So my thing right now is like, okay, yeah, sexually, I can probably have whatever the fucking guy I want to.
You sure
but
about that?
No, honestly, like there has not, I'm going to be 100% honest. Like if I genuinely like that guy or if I like, oh, like, you know,
there's nothing godly about
yeah.
Not yet, sorry.
So like if I'm attracted to them sexually, like there's
Sorry. Sorry. Sounds back. Sorry. Yeah, so Kiko here saying to to Chase that he's you know, not really a man of God, not really Christian, and we get so mad at their reaction to him. Kiko gets really mad because you know they said that they wouldn't. Chase says he'd rather date the oldest woman alive than a trans man because he's not gay, and she found that to be so offensive. And I don't understand why they can't just accept that men like what they like. There's fetish dudes out there who would like, as he acknowledged, that would like him. There's dudes out there like that, sure. um um but the idea that he could pull whoever he wants, that's just delusional. Even if he wasn't a man, um those that's not a great body. um you know, that's not even like, you know, a good shape for a big person, you know. It's it's just raw delusion, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get the I don't get it. I don't know what else to say. We watched a little bit of this conversation.
I've 95% of the time I'll get it. However, I'm getting to a certain age now, like a level of maturity, where it's like, okay, sex is just sex at this point. I want intimacy, and I want it outside of closed doors.
Yep. You want something that's not shallow and superficial. You want more than just sex.
Yeah, like I
Yep.
Like I crave intimacy, like, and honestly, like that's something that I want long term, and I'm at a level of maturity. Like I said, I'm clearing the fucking roster. I don't give a if you're a fucking football player, if you know so and so person, if you know X, Y, and Z. Like I don't give a like
clearing the roster. What do you mean by that? Do you have confirm or deny?
Do you have blue
is there a
checks
roster
in your DMs?
Yes.
Are you just running through famous dudes?
I'm not gonna be like talking like, yeah, I have hundreds, but I have like a good amount.
But you said a roster, so like, what question for you? What's the most amount of people that you've dated
all at once?
All at once.
Like in rotation?
Sure. Same time, rotation, however you want to.
Honestly, like 3
in rotation.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like I'll have men. I'm like, okay, this one's annoying me. Like, okay, it's time to clear his ass and let's bench this person right there.
Do you meet men
It's like
through
March
dating
Madness
apps?
out here.
Honestly, can I? Okay, so I did the dating app thing. Like I said, it was a full fetish. Like that's all it was. So I
Did you put it on your? Sorry.
So do they know that you're trans?
That's what I was gonna ask. Do you put it out
100%.
there?
I don't care how passable you are. I feel like you have to disclose.
Respect.
And this is why.
Very
because
important.
They're especially like,
Ding.
Like there's like, okay, let's say I go out on a guy and and honestly, you know,
well, yeah, that's enough, I suppose. But at least he thinks that you should disclose that. I don't think in his case they need to do a background check to know. I don't think that's required information. But I'm glad he at least thinks that. But yeah, Kiko got so mad at them for not just going along with them. There'll be these girls that'll be like, oh no, they're wonderful the way they are and they're beautiful and etc. It's funny how people will treat women who are you know, if you go on different comment sections, sometimes you'll see videos of people pointing this out, like on videos on TikTok, and then there'll be all these, like, if you're really like, I guess traditionally like beautiful woman or something like that, you'll see all these haters in the comments. But if there's like a big girl like showing off or something, they're like, oh, you're so beautiful, etc. So I don't know, sometimes it's like if women aren't intimidated by you, then then they'll kind of laud you with praise. And if you look good and you look good, and then some of the claws come out. But they know this dude is, you know how people call unborn babies clumps of cells. that's and I know I'm a big girl, but at least I am a girl who is big. And I know what I am. So anyway, Maxim Australia made a list of top 100 hot women, and they had an interesting list, very interesting list. You know, but in the 92nd spot was a person named Danny Landley, and Danny is not a woman. Not only is Danny not a woman, I think it's pretty obvious that Danny is not a woman. Um, you know, a better kind of shape than what we had going on, but um yeah, former football coach Riley. This is Riley Gaines' tweet. Number 92 on the top 100 hottest women in the world, according to Maxim magazine in Australia. How do we get to the point where companies, institutions, publications can do this with no fear of backlash? I'm sure they do stuff like this for some of that backlash, so people will comment, and maybe they do it for some of the social standing and the praise or whatever from whatever groups and whatnot. But we're sitting here talking about it, I guess. So I assume that's like the ultimate goal, but not even passable in the least bit. But I wanted to play this clip here for you guys.
talk to people. I was in the 1.8 percent of transgender people who hid it from the world. Be vulnerable. Find some people who you can trust, who you can talk to, and they'll support you. And invariably, everything will be okay.
I told my truth, which was, to help Dad out and tell her story the best way that I could.
Talk to people.
Have your dad tell her story, huh? Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's obviously women more than 91 that could have made the list. You didn't need to take up spot number 92 with the dude who looks like he could jump into a cage match and mess some people up. Very, very, very masculine looking face. Doesn't look like a woman at all. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. And to make it on this list is it's nuts, but Riley is on to something that, it's amazing that people can make stuff like this and they don't fear that there's going to be enough public sort of shock and outrage to de-incentivize them from doing these things, whether it's TV shows or beauty pageants or stuff at your kids' school or whatever. They feel that they can just keep marching forward. And you know what, there's still not enough people probably actually doing the backlash, I suppose, because if there was that financial incentive to not do those sorts of crazy things, then I think people would shape up a bit. But in the case of the clip that I showed you guys from the whatever podcast, and you see people like Kiko getting angry when you don't just affirm and affirm and affirm and affirm. And she ends up storming off and other stuff, and she gets into a real big back and forth with Chase. When you have people who are that aggressive to the ideology at the expense of reality, which is pretty important, at the expense of truth, and even women, the safety and of women's spaces, people will throw that aside. Like I was we talked yesterday about the guy who's in the sorority, and they wouldn't kick him out of the sorority because they're like, well, yes, it's for women, but you guys didn't define what a woman was. And so I had mentioned that I thought he was probably heavier than the 260 at 6'2". And so we were at a gathering yesterday, and my sister brought it up. She was watching my show and she's like, I thought that was so funny you kept bringing it up and going back to it. I'm like, I was just like wondering out loud just because it didn't make sense to me. So everybody was asking what you're talking about. So I started explaining and I shared the story. And the women were so, because these are normal women, they were just so appalled at the idea that everyone else wanted to compromise the safety and with these women being comfortable for the sake of this man, knowing that he was watching these women having erections, getting turned on, and they didn't care. They still wanted to cater to him being, part of the intersectionality club, the LGBT mafia, whatever. And his feelings had to come before everyone else. And if you came out against him, then you're transphobic, then you're a bad person, etc. It doesn't matter. And you can be the victim, doesn't matter, because they're oppressed and there's a hierarchy of oppression Olympics. And women, especially if you're a white woman, you do not rate as high as someone who is a trans woman, even if they're 6'2" and allegedly only 260 pounds. So as long as it's not just like administrative staff or the judge or whatever who's made that problem, it was also other other girls like in the fraternity or whatever, I mean in the sorority, sorry, who wanted to support, who they wanted to vote against it, but there was like some kind of online form where they had to vote, and people were concerned because it wasn't anonymous, and their names, what they'd have to write in their names, and people were scared about facing backlash. So other people are going to have to wake up and care about other women, actual women. People are going to have to care about them for any of this to really change. And I think there's too many people who are so concerned about looking socially acceptable that they'd be willing to forsake everyone else around them and even themselves. Because even those girls who want to be supportive of the trans person, not they're being watched and as well. They're not in a safe situation as well. And I can't imagine living in that kind of situation. I definitely would not tolerate it. A mutual of mine, I had added him at the story, and he's like, oh, those girls need to just leave the sorority. They're not safe. And that's probably the right thing to do. I can't imagine my dad being a girl going to college and me like and telling my dad what was going on and him not, going crazy about it and doing everything within his power to rectify the situation. I mean, he was mad. I went to art school for a little bit. Like only had enough for like the semester really, and then I couldn't end up completing school, but I had, it's an art school. We had a drawing class and we had models. And so most of the time we had female models, but one day came in and there was a guy there, an older gentleman. I don't know, maybe he's, he wasn't like buff or anything. And he was maybe somewhere in his 50s, maybe. And he was very expressive. And I was just blushing. and that was my first time seeing an adult one, I guess, live in person. And so people were just like, oh, you baby. And though we're all like around the same age, or or I guess there's some people older than me, but but we're all like adults. I just believe that's married people stuff. But so when I told my dad about it, he was mad about that. He's like, they could have worn some underwear. And so he was so like, it didn't process that I'd have to do that. So I can't imagine being in a situation where there's a 6'2", 260 alleged pound man, because I think he was probably heavier than that, but watching me change, watching me sleep and getting an erection and just being like, nope, totally normal. That is a woman who belongs here. No way. So it's crazy what women have to go through, but it's crazy what women put up and force each other to put up with because they want to look good in the eyes of their social gods. It's really crazy. I've never really watched a show, Black Mirror. I've maybe seen one episode and there was an episode with Bryce Howard Dallas, and she was trying to like the whole society operated off of a social credit score, and everyone was just trying to act good and be good and look cool, so people would rate them and they would go higher, and based on how high they were on like the social kind of credit score, that helped them with their work or what kind of things that they could get in life. It all operated off of likes and clicks and other things like that. And so she ended up, doing something that started her on a pathway of being downvoted a lot. And then she ended it being thrown in like some kind of prison. with other people who did please the social god. So um we're pretty much conditioning ourselves to be in that kind of society where you have to where people feel like they have to say the right thing or else, and you don't know a lot of people's genuine sort of feelings or if they are genuine, they've been conditioned um to such a particular way. I think, was it Monday or Tuesday, we watched a video of a racial struggle session where some women were of color were paid to go have dinner with white women, and they were trying to figure out, in what way are they racist, and they had to confess, and you know etc. It's just amazing um how the world is, it's just it turns my stomach and baffles me. I i thank you for being here, being baffled with me and talking. I got to talk about it with somebody, so thank you. Speaking of being baffled, Joe Biden, president of the United States, um he commented on the hospital that was allegedly destroyed, which wasn't actually destroyed. There was a blast. They said it was an airstrike from Israel that hit a hospital, and they're like 500 people are dead. Um, which they somehow knew immediately. I mean, it takes Israel like some time to they're still identifying bodies and other stuff like that. It takes a while to get like counts of death totals. So to be like automatically 500 people died. It's suspicious, but people ran with it. Um, that number probably is not accurate. Also hit like the parking lot. Even the shingles, not the shingles, the solar panels on the hospital are even intact. There were some glass stained windows blown out and some destroyed cars, but it definitely wasn't what people were, hyping it up to be. Certainly not. Oh, and of course, it wasn't the U.S. It was Palestinians sending over a rocket and failing. So the whole story was a lie. So Joe Biden was talking about the story, and he made some interesting comments. Very, very interesting.
How about the hospital, sir? People all over the region are upset about the hospital and don't necessarily believe you or the Israelis that they didn't have anything to do with it. Do you have a message to the people in the streets right now?
Well, I can understand why in this circumstance they wouldn't believe. I can understand that. But I would not, you notice I don't say things like that unless I have faith in the source from which I've gotten them. Our Defense Department says it's highly unlikely that Israelis would have a different footprint, and they've intercepted some anyway. So that's why, if you notice, I didn't say it at first. I wanted to make sure that I knew. And look, and I'm not suggesting that Hamas deliberately did it either. It's that old thing, got to learn how to shoot straight.
Bruh. It's that old saying, you gotta learn how to shoot straight. As if they're like clone troopers in a Star Wars movie. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't want the terrorists to learn how to shoot straight necessarily, because they are shooting into, Israel and trying to hit Tel Aviv and, kill, which by the way, they've hit hospitals and stuff, but you didn't see like the news going crazy about, Israeli hospitals being hit. But so Hamas and all those folks, they have to learn to shoot straight. Oh my gosh. That's not me saying that Joe Biden is pro-terrorism or pro Hamas. He's tired, guys. Haven't we had enough of old man Joe Biden? Uh they gotta learn to shoot straight. I think they should just learn to not shoot rockets and just kind of quit, you know? Um Learning to shoot better. Imagine, I mentioned clone troopers, like imagine if they could just shoot better. There would have been no trilogy. Luke and Leia and all of them would just be dead, probably, right? Because you watch those films, like nobody can shoot very well except for the good guys, it appears. Unfortunately, I know people like to say that's not my president. Somebody, I can vote for him certainly. Unfortunately, that is my president against my will. But oh, learn to shoot straight. By the way, did you guys notice like Blinken just like creeping in the background, like half of his face covered, the other kind, the darkness. That was pretty. I don't know, just watching, making sure he didn't say the wrong thing. Though Blinken is no genius either. Um, it's just kind of a mess of an administration. Um, but Biden has always, said things that made people raise eyebrows. Through his whole career. So it's not just because he's losing it because he's old or whatever. It's just it's just him. It's just him. It's just him. Learn to shoot straight. Okay. Anyway, before moving on, I do want to note Rashida Tlaib was still pushing the hospital narrative way beyond the point of where it's been debunked. I don't know if she's refusing to believe it, but she was in a crowd telling people, that, repeating those lies. And there are people calling for her to be, her expulsion of Congress or whatever. I don't know if they could get enough Democrats to do that. There'd have to be some extreme pressure from their side to agree to something like that. And unfortunately, I don't know if that would or wouldn't do anything. There's so many radical Dems in that district. They might just, I don't know if you're actually, I guess I have to look up the rules of whether they could just vote you back in or whatever. But that's a possibility. But it's unfortunate that there is no leadership to deal with this particular situation right now, and much of that is to the fault of Matt Gaetz. And you guys can love him and say like, yeah, the chaos, and yeah, we needed to get rid of McCarthy and whatnot. This has led to a debacle that's been going on way longer than I think it should. Gaetz sent out this letter though for like a fundraiser, which is pretty funny to me, because it's the irony, I guess, perhaps escapes him. I don't know. It's Matt Gaetz. We are interested from electing Speaker Jim Jordan, but rhinos are working with radical Democrats like AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib to block Jim Jordan from becoming Speaker. So people do invoke AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib a lot in fundraising because people don't like them. Just like people use Trump on the left to get money when they're fundraising, people like to invoke their names on the right because it does motivate people to give just some inside knowledge of this stuff. But the funny thing about this is that Matt Gaetz worked with AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib to oust McCarthy. So when you do it, it's all okay, and when other Republicans do it to not do what you want, then it's bad to work with these Democrats. Okay. All right. So there was a plan to, because Jim Jordan at first, this is all kind of evolving right now. I don't know if anything has changed from the time that I pressed record, but Jim Jordan, it was said that he wasn't going to do a third round and that they were going to give more power to Patrick McHenry, who is just temporarily acting as speaker right now. And they were talking about doing that until January. So Gates was asked about it.
What do you think about this resolution? Do you think that McHenry?
I think that I'm against Speaker Light. I'm against Bud Light. I believe it is a constitutional desecration to not elect a Speaker of the House. We need to stay here until we elect a Speaker. And if someone can't get the votes, we need to go on to the next person. But twisting and torturing the Constitution to empower a temporary speaker is having a Speaker Light that is not constitutionally contemplated, is deeply infirm, and I will do everything possible to stop it.
Something very Jack Nicholson about Matt Gaetz. I guess it's the shape of his face and the kind of shape eyebrows and stuff. But so he was against that, and so Jordan apparently pitched it and it didn't go well, so their plan B is him running again on a third ballot to see. We'll see where that goes.
So I'll just say this: we made the pitch to members on the resolution as a way to lower the temperature and get back to work. We decided that wasn't where we're going to go. I'm still running for speaker, and I plan to go to the floor and get the votes and win this race. But I want to go talk with a few of my colleagues. Particularly, I want to talk with the 20 individuals who voted against me so that we can move forward and begin to work for the American people.
Are you going to the floor today, sir? Are you going to the floor?
So I don't know if he's going to get there or not, but there have been people calling, nonstop, grassroots people trying to get them to vote for, convince their reps to go ahead and vote for him. Apparently there's some Republicans saying that all the calls have not been nice and polite, and some have been threatening. So that, I assume, is going to turn people more off from backing him. I saw some people really upset about John James from Michigan not voting for Jim Jordan, and one of his votes, he voted for Candace Miller, who's also from Macomb, who's in Congress some time ago. Excuse me. And it's funny, people are like, "Oh, I supported him, and I can't believe he would betray the country like this." I gave to his campaign, and there's someone from California, and then somebody else was like, "I did the same. I'm also from California." People from outside of states give money all the time. I assume that a lot of people from his district in Michigan, I'm not in his district. I know a lot of people from the district though, aren't probably cool with him not voting for Jim Jordan. And I honestly don't understand. I'd be very interested to get the inside baseball on that, because it doesn't make sense to me, because it's not. I know there's moderates or people who'd be concerned about how that's gonna play in their purple district or something like that, but John James is like done. Our entire Michigan delegation has already endorsed Donald Trump for president, and so I don't. I don't know. It kind of seems at that point, if you're going to do that, then you're kind of all gung ho on that particular, group of people and those motivations and stuff. So, why kneecap Jordan? I don't know. I'm really curious to why. Because seeing his name was a bit of a surprise. I don't get it. But it's funny that there's so many people who are saying that he's like a traitor, and all these people are traitors because they won't support Jim Jordan. People have their reasons, but so they got to vote for somebody. Hopefully somebody good. I I like Jim Jordan on the committees and stuff that he's on. I don't know if I love him for speaker or think he's going to be the best person for the job, but so they have to back someone who can get the votes, and it's I don't know if he's the one who can get there. When I went over to my parents' house last night, my mom, she doesn't she knows probably more than the average bear, but especially because my dad has the news on all the time. But she asked me about it, and she's like, they just need to go back to to the one they had before, because they just feel that it's making Republicans look bad, and she's not like uber hyper political or whatever. So if she's thinking that, I'm sure that other people are thinking that too. I think it's all a big hot mess, guys. I really, really I do. But I don't think they have voted yet again, but we'll see what happens if he can get there. I don't know what kind of concessions he's going to have to make to the people who don't want to back him. And it'd be interesting if he had to make more, kind of moderate concessions than McCarthy had to make to like the conservatives, and it ends up, being someone they want, but still not as good as a deal that they had before. So hopefully they can pull it together. There's so many things going on right now, and it's Republicans have to make the case that they can lead and lead well and competently. And so many people want to need a change for their families, for the economy, for their safety, etc. And they don't want to vote the Democrat, and they don't want to be made to vote that way. But perhaps they will. Republicans just have to give them a good option, be that safe, stable option for them. And I don't know, the grudge matches, whatever the heck that ended up expelling McCarthy, and getting into the scenario, that stuff cannot move forward, especially into next year. So hopefully whatever happens, whether they get Jim Jordan or have to revert back, which I don't know if McCarthy would or wouldn't do that, they just have to work it out. They just have to work it out. Anyway, those are my headlines for today. So I'm gonna actually start to wrap it up. I know we're a little light on the show today, but please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, different videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate. Cost of stream, cost of my website, all that stuff. So you guys can support. I very much do appreciate it. Please check out my book, Of Course God is Blatant Against Abortion. It covers rights, it covers theology, it covers politics. So it's a very well-rounded book. So you guys can get a paperback, or you guys can get it in Kindle. And again, if you guys are interested in my books, I have nonfiction books, just 2 nonfiction books really. The other one is Slay Your Fear: How to Overcome a Spirit of Fear. So that is a faith book. The rest are fiction books that I have, and I have chapter books. I have for youngins, and I got books that are, for a bit older people. So go ahead and check out my stash. If you go to blacktnews.com, there's a banner at the top that'll on the merchandise page, it'll take you to my book website. Well, it's October, so if you want something that's a little on the creeper side, I don't have one on me, like near me, or a picture of it, but I have a series that's like a paranormal romance, and it's about demon hunters, so that one's kind of cool. If you like stuff like Buffy or Supernatural or whatever, I'm sure that you'd like that. I should probably maybe put that at the front of my page and my website, so 'tis that kind of season, I guess. So I'm going to my website actually to pull it up. Let me just share the screen, I guess. You got a little time. I need to update the site. So, about the books. So there's my kids' book, Super Kid, Light Book, Samurai Sunset series. Almost Alive is what I'm talking about. So, but here we go. A little scary. So there is a video you guys can watch just a little bit about it that's there on the site. So yeah, this website's ninjadustpublishing.com. So you guys can check out my books there. The Queen series. I mean, I like them all, obviously. The Nameless series, that's my historical fiction fantasy book series. The Cursed series, The Cursed Moon, Cursed Blood, Cursed Water, so Dark Mermaid, and the second one will be out, soon enough, before the end of the year. I was hoping to get out Comic-Con, but not going to happen. At the bottom, you see my fiction, my nonfiction. So anyway, that's my website for my books. If you just search my name on Amazon, you can find them. And I do thank you to those who have checked out my stuff. I appreciate you. Just looking at the comments really quick before I let you go. But on my website, blacktnews.com, again, easy way to find all my stuff on the merchandise page. There's a banner, will take you to the book website. But lots of stuff to see. Anyway, thank you guys, and I will catch you tomorrow.